Begins a special proclamation today for the crew of Driftwood, a 54-year tradition in the city of Kenner. If you want to take your seats, please. Get everybody up here. All right, thank you all for coming. What's that?
Everybody's attention. Acting Mayor Joey Lahat has a proclamation he would like to bestow. Please pay attention. Thank you.
Let me get up to the podium. Hold on. Got the cameras. Is it on? Okay. Hey everyone, and good morning. You might be quite confused today why I'm the acting mayor. Our Mayor Glazer, the administration contingent, is currently representing the city of Kenner in the Washington, D.C. Mardi Gras festivities, which is a great weekend up in the nation's capital, which involves many different Louisiana delegations, businessmen, women, politicians from around the whole state to really celebrate the Mardi Gras traditions, not just in the New Orleans and Kenner area, but in the nation's capital. I went once, it was a great time, and I'm really glad that we do send the city of Kenner delegation up there to represent our interests and keep communication with all of our DC components, state components, and elsewhere. So Mardi Gras has begun. In the tradition of the city of Kenner, one of the main things that happen anywhere in the New Orleans area is the start of the crew of Driftwood, a 54-year tradition that started back in the 1970s, which was formed by Civic Association, which is still run by the Driftwood Park Civic Association, their board and the members on a volunteer basis. The Driftwood Civic Parade is put on by family members and people who dedicate and donate their time to this cause, and they don't make any money doing so. The Civic Association lives off very little membership contributions throughout the year from the neighborhood. Everyone knows I'm a Mardi Gras guy. I live in Driftwood, and I'm still involved in the Civic Association and the parade. And we have today, I think the president, is Christine here today? Is Matt coming either? No? Okay. So we have today a tradition in that every year a new king and queen is named. And this goes back a long way to the 1970s, and we actually have a party every year where you're part of the club, you come to this great party. We did it last Friday night. But this year, the board got together last year and decided that there were two very important people in our neighborhood who've lived there a very long time and are very important to the community. So I'm going to do ladies first, and I'm going to call a very special person up here. Then after that, I'm going to bring the family, and then we're going to take pictures. Okay? Miss Carrie Renaud, please come to the podium, please. Stand here while I embarrass you for the next 2 minutes. I know I embarrass you every day. Whereas Carrie Renaud was born as acting mayor of the city of Kenner in place of Michael Glazer. Whereas Carrie Renaud was born and raised in Metairie, Louisiana. 22 years ago, she made the move to the Driftwood Park neighborhood in the city of Kenner and has called it home ever since. Where for 18 years, of her 22 years as a proud Driftwood resident, she has been with her loyal partner Kelly, who has been at her side and her support. Whereas Carrie is a proud mother of 3 children, Jason, Jamie, and Audrey. And she's a loving and devoted grandmother to 2 beautiful grandchildren, Eleanor and Jaden. Whereas over the past years, Carrie has been known as a devoted volunteer for the Driftwood Park Civic Association. She is dedicated to helping her community while having fun, spending time with neighbors and her friends. Her favorite times in Driftwood include enjoying crawfish bowls at Neighbors, I attend all the time, spending time with friends and family at the annual Driftwood Park Parade, and watching her children grow up and make memories in the neighborhood. Whereas Carrie is known for her love of her community and is so excited to continue to contribute more. Whereas it was great pride that the 54th crew of Driftwood announces its queen, Carrie Renaud, may her reign be joyous. Now, therefore, I, as Kenner Acting Mayor Joey Lahat, along with the members of the Kenner City Council, Chief of Police Keith Conley, do hereby congratulate Ms. Carrie Renaud on being named the queen of the 2024 crew of Driftwood in its 54th year. I want to say all hail Queen Carrie. I'm next going to announce the king. I'll have to ask Mr. Jose Perez to please come to the podium, please. Whereas Jose Perez, a native of Cuba, where he lived until the age of 13. In 1968, he courageously left Cuba with his family in search of freedom and a new life. Jose and his family first settled in Spain, where they resided for 2 years, and in 1970 they arrived in New Orleans. Whereas Jose has been a proud New Orleanian for the past 54 years, soaking up the unique Mardi Gras history and traditions. He is married to Grace, his wife of 41 years, and they are parents to 2 children, a daughter, Christina, her son, Jose Jr. In addition, they're proud grandparents to 2 grandsons, PJ, age 12, Raphael, age 22 months. Whereas in 1987, Jose and Grace decided to make the city of Kenner, specifically Driftwood Park, their family home. At the time, their daughter, Christina, was almost 2, and Jose Jr. was on his way. They felt Driftwood was the ideal place to raise a family, so indeed that is what they did. Whereas Jose volunteered his time as a coach for both baseball and basketball at Gladys Playground. The family were members of Driftwood Park Country Club, where they spent many joyful summers, making countless memories. Jose proudly supported Grace in her role as a board member at the club and rode beside her in 2009 when she reigned as queen of the crew of Driftwood Parade. Jose volunteered both his time and labor at the famous Friday night barbecues and pitched in using his handyman skills to help maintain the club's building. A handyman at heart, he loves to fix things around his home in his spare time, as well as maintain his beautiful garden. Most importantly, he says he makes sure to spend his time playing golf. I love that one. Whereas as pride, the 54th crew of Driftwood announces as King Jose Perez, may his reign be joyous. Now therefore, I, as acting Mayor Joey Lahat, along with the Mayor of the Kenner City Council, Chief Police Keith Connolly, to hereby congratulate Mr. Jose Perez on being named the King of the 2024 crew of Driftwood in its 54th year. All hail King Jose. Council members, can we do a picture in front? And oh yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
I won't need much time. No, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank the city of Kenner, in particular, Mr. Lahat, for bringing the parade back, because we lost the parade for 1 year. We lost the club a few years ago, and that's probably not ever coming back. But we got the parade back, and let me tell you, this parade is not about quantity, it's not even about quality. It's about friends coming out to support the parade, and everybody has a great time. If I was given a choice of being a king of any parade in the city of New Orleans, I would have picked this parade. Thank you very much.
You still don't want to talk? Are you sure? You talk all the time. Okay, we're doing a picture, though. Council members, if you don't mind, we'll do a quick picture with everybody from the reign of Driftwood.
The council meeting of January 26th will begin in 2 minutes. I'd like to call the meeting for January 26, 2024 to order. First, I'd start by asking if there's any special intentions. Councilman Swarth?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I was informed last week that one of retired Kenner firefighters, Rhonda Knowles, passed away. And Rhonda was my firefighter at one time or another. And I wish the family well and all my condolences. Thank you.
Councilwoman Dunn?
I'd like to mention that I'm on the councilwoman 12 years. Ms. Wilma Irvin passed away.
Councilman Brannigan?
Oh, yes, in District 4, we had a long time resident, Ed Vallette. He passed away this past week, so please pray for his family.
And I have a couple as well. Mary Claire Lambert Pettit. She is the daughter of Senator Eddie Lambert and Judge Marilyn Lambert. She is also the wife and mother of two, an expecting mother, has cancer and is to undergo induced labor, surgeries, and chemotherapy. Pray for her that her cancer is either cured by surgery, a surgical intervention, or is treated and goes into remission, whichever is best for her medical condition, and that she recovers without any additional health complications and lives a long, full life. Also, Tony Levia, he's a retired JPSO Reserve Deputy who was my lieutenant in the 1st District, recently passed away. He will be greatly missed, and he was a tremendous asset to all of us in JPSO. please, I ask that you pray for his family and friends and keep them in your thoughts during these difficult times. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, Councilwoman McKinney, if you can lead us in prayer.
Yes. If we can all bow our heads. Lord God, thank you for this day and the opportunity to come together to make impactful decisions for our community and work together for the best of Kenner. On this day, please give us direction, fortitude, and grace to deal with anything that may lay ahead. May we seek your guidance and work steadfastly in your name. Lord, pray for all of the community members that we recently lost. Lord, let them know that that they're constantly in our prayers and in our thoughts. We're grateful for them for their contributions and are always praying for their families. Amen.
Amen. Councilmember Swarth, if you can lead us in the pledge.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please cover your hearts. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum. Councilman Lahat will be serving as acting mayor for this meeting. In accordance with Council Resolution Number B14550, please be advised that all cellular telephones and other devices of this nature must be deactivated or silenced throughout the council meeting. Next, we have correspondence, reports from the mayor, CAO, or department heads.
Acting Mayor Lahat.
Yes, at this time, obviously, Ms. Councilwoman D. Dunn mentioned this earlier, but former Councilwoman Wilma Irvin passed away. She was a very vital councilwoman in the history of politics in Kenner, and she served on the council from July 1st, 1982 through June 11th, 1994. She had community service dedication to District 1 for decades, and a lot of people don't know is that former Councilwoman Jeannie Black, who was really, to me, the best council member to ever occupy my council District 3 spot, was best friends with Ms. Irvin. They were growing up. Ms. Jeannie Black grew up in South Kenner with Councilwoman Irvin, and they were best friends. And I'd like to get some good stories from Ms. Black one day about how they grew up together and did some things. But I'm going to cede my time to Councilwoman Dunn at this point to give a little background of Councilwoman Irvin, because she was a vital person in the history of this city.
Yeah, I have known Ms. Irvin ever since she was on the council. When she ran, I supported her, and in her time, she was a graduate of Kenner Elementary School, so that's how long she's actually been in the district, all of her life. She worked throughout the parish. She was an advocate for children and things of that nature. She also was very instrumental in building our Council on Aging that we have now. So not only did she work with the youth, but she also established many programs for the elderly also. But also in her tenure with a lot of the people in her district know about was in 1972 when she opened up her Little Lamb nursery. So a lot of the kids that was in the community was able to go to her nursery. She was very instrumental through Bessie Hammond, who approached her and a group of citizens and asked her to run for that seat, for the Kenner City Council in this seat. She actually served the citizens of District 1 for 12 years. Not only that, she was an advocate for repairing the streets and all of that. Where we had the MLK march on the other day, the ceremony, she was actually instrumental in that, in tearing down the old Green Lizard Apartments. That's what it was actually called. So they tore that down, and then they ended up later on, but she was instrumental in introducing the legislation for the MLK building and a lot of these other parks that we see. It may not have been completed during her tenure, but it was under her administration that these buildings and things were put in place. And also, last but not least, she fought very hard, and Kenner was the first place in this region that actually had the MLK march and ceremony. She actually went with, at that time, Mayor Broussard, because she served up under him also in order to, ensure that Kenner had an MLK march and ceremony. And as you all can remember, last year, we did honor her as a trailblazer for all of the work that she had done, and, a lot of this stuff had come out. So prayerfully, as we move forward, we would also do something. I would like to see something in her honor, because as the councilwoman, she did a lot for this district, and she was the first to, actually move forward. So we really want to do something for her. Now, let me just say one other thing. Her funeral is set for Friday coming, a week from today. That's on September the 2nd, and it will be at the Little Zion Baptist Church. So we will be looking for the mayor or whatever, the council, to actually be there. So that would be February, I'm sorry. February the 2nd. And that would be at the Little Zion Baptist Church right over here on Kenner Avenue.
That's in the morning, Ms. D?
That would be, I haven't gotten the exact time, but I'm assuming around 10 o'clock.
Okay.
It should be around 10 o'clock. Prayerfully, we will also give her a proclamation or something for her service.
No.
Because 12 years is a long time to actually serve people of our district, and we'll talk more about her accomplishments.
I would love to do that. I would definitely be in favor for doing something special for her and her memory. So whatever you want to do, I'll be fine, and we'll vote for that in favor.
We thank you all so much.
Yes, thank you, Councilwoman D. Being acting mayor, I don't really have any other reports. Obviously, my district, the pickleball thing on Friday nights we're doing is going very well. People are showing up. We had 50 people last Friday. That's a really great thing, a change in the recreation department in Charles Alon, doing a really good job. And we have a lot of people coming out and participating in that. We're going to try to expand it. It might be something we want to do throughout the city because of how popular it is. But other than that, just being the acting mayor at this point, I don't want to say so many other things. But we did the Driftwood parade. Will be starting tomorrow at 1 p.m. A lot of y'all are going to ride in it, so I look forward to seeing you and having a great time with the family and friends.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Mayor. Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Under resolutions, motions, and other items from the floor, I have a motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember McKinney, to add item 3E, application number 2384-24, John James Audubon Elementary, to hold a public gathering on February 8, 2024, from 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. for the purpose of a school parade at 200 Loyola Drive in Kenner, Louisiana. All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 6-0 to amend the agenda. Under the consent agenda, I have item 1, approval of minutes, the regular council meeting of January 11, 2024.
We have a motion by Councilmember McKinney and seconded by Councilmember Wilmot. Council members, please vote.
Let me read in those permits real quick before we
Sure.
vote, sir.
Sure.
Item 2 is approval of alcoholic beverage permit applications. We have none. Item 3 is approval of bingo and public gathering applications. Item 3A is application number 2378-24, Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Louisiana Foundation, to hold a public gathering on February 17, 2024, from 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. for the purpose of job fair at Lincoln Manor Gym, 3100 Tifton Street. Item 3B is application number 2379-24, Carrie Rayno to hold a public gathering on January 27, 2024, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. for the purpose of a Crew of Driftwood Parade after party at 51 Monterey Drive. Item 3C is application number 2380-24, Visit Kenner to hold a public gathering on February 10, 2024, from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. for the purpose of a Kenner Gras at Kenner City Park at 3800 Loyola. Item 3D is application 2381-24, the City of Kenner hold a public gathering on February 25, 2024, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. for the purpose of a Kenner Black History Festival at Beavertown Parking Lot, 400 Williams Boulevard. Item 3E is application number 2384-24, John James Audubon Elementary to hold a public gathering on February 8, 2024, from 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. for the purpose of a school parade at 200 Loyola Drive. And that will conclude the consent agenda.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, for reading those in. Motion by Councilmember McKinney and seconded by Councilmember Wilmot. Please, council members, vote.
Council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Under the public appearance agenda, we have item 8, public hearings and final passage. Item 8A is a public hearing regarding resolution number B17367, a resolution calling a public hearing to determine whether the structures located at 3015 Akron Street in Kenner, Louisiana shall be abated by repair, rehabilitation, demolition, or removal.
Motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember Brennan to open public hearing. Please vote.
Council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. We're now in a public hearing. I believe we have the Code Enforcement Department to make a presentation.
If you will.
Good morning, Council and Administration. Catherine Topple, Director of Inspection and Code Enforcement, offices at 1926 18th Street, City of Kenner. The structure we have today is a one-story, single-family elevated structure on pilasters with the address of 3015 Acorn Street. This property is owned by Mr. and Mrs. Johnny Wells. On June 7th of last year, 2023, it was determined that this property is unsafe and dangerous to the health and public safety of the general citizens. It also does not meet any building codes, as well as Section 557 of the Code of Ordinances of Kenner. On September 25th, our office sent a notice by certified mail to the property owner advising of the property violations. On November 13, 2023, we appointed a curator to represent the owner and to locate any persons of interest for the property. Mr. Wells and Mr. Fenton Wells and Ms. Sonia Wells are the only surviving owners. Ms. Sonia Wells did reach out to the curator, who is present today, and provided her address in Colorado. I don't believe they've heard from Mr. Fenton Wells. It's noted in the report from our engineer, Digital Engineering, who was retained by the city, that the following reasons are of inadequate maintenance, dilapidation, and abandonment. The permanent utilities are all been disconnected. Atmos was disconnected in 2005, September 2005. Entergy's been disconnected since November of 2010, and Jefferson Parish Water confirmed the water meter has been removed. None of the windows or doors have been boarded up. And this particular structure has been undergoing renovations at some point in 2018. Code Enforcement's last inspection on the property was January 29, 2018, as far as for repair of the structure. There's small remnants of the water barrier remain on the exterior of the building. However, most of it has been blown off over the years. The OSB plywood sheathing is severely weathered and warped, and this material is not suitable for exterior exposure to the elements. The interior of the structure is totally gutted. Portions of the front porch railing are missing, and other sections are loose. The northernmost wood column supporting the porch roof is dislodged and can easily be dislocated. And based on this report from the engineer, the structure is seriously a public hazard, and we recommend the city take the necessary steps to have it demolished. We did reach out to our contractor for demolition, and the estimated cost of demolition is $23,760. And as was mentioned, the curator is also here present on behalf of the owners. And that concludes my presentation.
Does any council members have any questions? Councilmember Swarth?
Ms. Catherine, how many square foot is this house about?
Just looking at it, maybe 960 at the most. It's rather small structure.
That's probably under 1,000 for sure.
Yes.
And how much you said was demolition is going to be?
The estimated cost for demolition is $23,760.
23,000. That's a lot.
We have a current contract with a demolition contractor that we must,
And it's still pipe works that we're still doing with?
I'm sorry?
Pipe works?
Yes, sir.
That's a lot for that house. But
Yes.
we're bound, so.
We are bound by the
okay.
contract, correct.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Councilwoman Dunn?
Why were not the residents present today?
They were notified and sent certified mail and actually did reach out to their curator who was representing them. However, they did not respond to our department. So that's why we appointed a curator to represent their interest in this structure.
I agree with Mrs. Showalter. That's a lot of money to demolish the building of that size. Okay.
Again, we do have a contract in place. We can't go out around that contract. And we are concerned about the public health and safety. As you can see from the pictures on the PowerPoint, the structure is wide open, and anybody can get into that structure at this time.
Oh, I agree, it's got to come down. I'm just saying that the price is ridiculous, that's all.
Anyone else? Seeing none. Thank you, Ms. Top.
Thank you.
And if we can, have the curator come up. State your name for the record, please.
Good morning. My name is James Raff. I was appointed curator from the law firm LeBlanc Fantesi Vilio to locate and represent the absent property owners at 3015 Akron Street. Upon being appointed, I used internet resources to find the potential property owners. Those included JeffNet, Jefferson Parish Assessor's Office, Orleans Parish Assessor's Office, White Pages, and Google Search. I was able to find addresses for all of the property owners, and I sent certified letters to each. Additionally, I placed a legal advertisement in the Times-Picayune and New Orleans Advocate. That advertisement ran on November 20th, 21st, and 22nd, 2023. One of the property owners, Sonia Wells, reached out to me. She informed me that all of the other property owners, with the exception of her and Felton Wells, were deceased. She told me that she didn't have any plans for the property. She didn't know what was going on with it, frankly. I advised her to contact code enforcement to try to get the issues with this property straightened up. She provided me a contact address in Colorado and a phone number. And when I got notice of this hearing, I additionally attempted to call her on the phone number she left me. I couldn't get through to her. And then I also sent a letter to her, I think on January 16th, advising her of the hearing.
Okay. Did you, as far as notices, so you went the typical extremes to send out notice, correct?
Yes, sir.
And are they here today?
No,
Do you know if they're here?
I don't believe they're here.
Is anybody here on behalf of the property owners? Individually? No? Okay. All right. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Anybody else make any comment at the public section of this hearing? None? Okay. Anybody? Councilman Brannigan? Councilman Brannigan?
Ms. Topple? So we tear this thing down, okay? If we decide to tear it down, then we put a lien on the property so the city's not owed the $23,000, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And it becomes payable on the tax bill.
Okay. And it seems like no one is responding, no property owner is responding, other than talking to the representative one time?
That's correct.
Okay.
That is absolutely correct.
So basically, if we end up tearing it down, we're gonna get our money back if the property is sold.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else like to make comment?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dunn?
Yeah. Ms. Topple, have the taxes been paid on this property at all?
No. No
They
tax has
haven't?
been paid, no.
Okay.
Any other?
I just,
Councilwoman McKinney?
yes, thank you, Council President. I know you said no taxes have been paid. Do you know when the last, like, have taxes never been paid, or?
I don't have that particular information.
Okay.
from
I can
you.
answer.
Apologize.
Okay.
So the taxes haven't been paid. It went to tax sale in 2002. So it hasn't been paid since then. It's already adjudicated to the city. So basically it went to tax sale, no one bid, so the city now has a lien on it already. So it's like $8,900 worth of taxes. That includes your tax sale costs though. So the lien for the demo would be added to that. And then if the property is ever sold, or if the city would ever try to take possession or go through the method, the methods of that, then we could recover.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Go ahead.
so we're gonna be in for like 30 grand,
We
right?
will, yeah.
Okay, so we have the property's ours now.
It's not ours, it's adjudicated. So we don't own the property, but we have the lien. So we hold the lien, and then there's a process that legal can get into, but there is a process of moving forward to take possession of a property that's been adjudicated.
How long does it take to take possession of the property?
It would take a good while. Unless we have a purpose for the property, probably the best thing to do is let it sit. And I believe we just had something like this happen not too long ago. And I understand that property just sold, so we're gonna collect on it. So at some point in time, somebody will probably want this property and want to buy it. And when they buy it, they have to pay us back what we have lien on, so we'll be able to get our property back.
So, but at this point, the property owner cannot sell the property.
No. Oh, they could try to sell it. They could try to sell it, but it's got liens on it. So, yes.
I understand.
Yes.
So if the property owner tried to settle, they would have to settle the tax debt and the lien for the demolition
Pays
in
off
order
the
to be able
top.
to sell the property, and that's how we would get our money back.
Yes, yes.
Okay. When we don't know a time frame. I mean, if the property's already basically in our possession, but not in our possession, it's a situation where, when would the city be able to sell this piece of
It's
property?
just that if there's no public purpose, we can't take possession of it. So
We'd have to have a reason
Yeah.
to take the property.
there would be,
It appears to be in a neighborhood. I don't
Yeah.
know why we would
Okay.
take that property. We would just do we had another property, I believe, a couple months ago that we tore down and had a pretty heavy lien. And my understanding is that just sold. And then we're gonna get our money back for the demolition on that. So it can happen. It just may take a couple years. Depends on when
Okay.
somebody wants it. I mean, people are buying properties. This has a $30,000 lien on it. Depends on what the value of the actual land is, that somebody would want it. But
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember Brennan to close public hearing. Council members, please vote.
Councilmembers in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 6-0.
Okay, motion by Councilwoman Dunn, seconded by Councilmember Brennan to approve. Any questions at this point? Seeing none?
Council Clerk will need a clarification on what are we approving? Are we approving demolition, repair, whatever? I need to clarify for the minutes, please. We approving demolition within the time allowed by law?
Is
Ms.
Ms. Topple?
Topple?
You heard the council clerk's question?
We're approving demolition in the time allowed by law.
Thank you so much. Council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 9 is ordinances for the sale, purchase, transfer, lease, and/or alienation of a movable property. We have none. Item 10 is opening of bids. We have none. Item 11 is reclassification of zoning for final passage. We have none. Item 12 is other ordinances for final passage. Item 12A is summary ordinance number 13,441, an ordinance amending Chapter 13 of the Code of Ordinances to add Article 8 to be titled Parks and Playgrounds and establish timeframes for parks and playgrounds to be closed to the public in the city of Kenner.
I have a motion by Councilmember Brannigan and seconded by Councilmember Swarth. Any questions? Seeing no one? Members, please vote.
Council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 12B is summary ordinance number 13,443, an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a grant from the United States Department of Justice, Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services, award number 15J-COPS-23-GG-04938-UHPX in the amount of $2,500,000 with the City of Kenner match amount of $1,784,080 for the hiring of new police officers for the Kenner Police Department.
Motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. In the discussion part, I ask that Deputy Chief DeForges give an explanation.
Good morning. David DeForge, Deputy Chief, Kenner Police Department. So this grant, the biggest thing about this grant, it's a reimbursement grant. It's not money up front. We have to spend the money first, and then we are reimbursed. We have to fill out quarterly reports, and then we are reimbursed. So we're not getting $2.5 million to spend. We have to spend it first and then be reimbursed. So what I did today is I asked Lieutenant Hales to come and speak on this. He and Sal Laharza have been working on this grant for months. So I'm going to ask Lieutenant Hales to step up and give you a little bit more explanation on the grant.
Lieutenant, if you will.
Good morning, Lieutenant Ethan Hales with the Kenner Police Department. I am the emergency manager for the police department. I oversee all the grants for the department as well. In 23, we applied for this grant. We got accepted. About 654 applications were received by the Department of Justice. We were one of 390 that got it. Again, as Deputy Chief said, it is up to $2.5 million. We do not have to spend the entire amount of the $2.5. It is up to 20 new police officer positions. So if we do not fill all those positions, and we do not have, there's no obligation to spend the 2.5 and then the match of approximately 1.7. It's 4 new police officer positions that we would fill, and it covers 3 years of salary. Well, the 58.36% of the salary comes from the federal government through reimbursement, and then the city's obligated to pay the remaining, 41.64%. It's a reimbursement grant every quarter. We would submit to the government like we do with all the other grants that we have through the Department of Justice. And that's really our requirement, is to report and pay the officer and maintain their salary. That's what we have to do.
And how many positions you said?
Up to 20.
Up to 20. Any questions from council? Councilwoman McKinney?
Yes, thank you, Council President. My only question is to clarify. So this is already using, the Kenner match is already using funds that are allocated and in the budget, right? So it's not a new funding. It's just we're actually getting funds that we could use in other places for that.
Correct. We would have to take money from our budget and pay the officer up front.
Right.
And then quarterly, we would get reimbursed for the federal percentage of it.
Okay, perfect. And it could be up to 20, but what are the plans? I don't know, maybe you mentioned it already, like, you don't know.
20 is a dream. Yeah, we would love to have 20, and it's a 5-year performance period. So
Okay.
nothing says we can't apply for this grant again next year.
Okay, so but you're not planning on doing all 20, depending on how many you can actually hire, that's dependent on that, right?
It's quite a turnaround to get 20 new police officers. It would definitely be another grant reporting period where we would ask for more money, but it would be a separate grant application.
Great.
This one is only up to 20.
Thank you.
Any other councilman? Councilman Brannigan?
So we can go up to 20. How many positions do we have funded in the budget that are not filled for police officers?
I believe that's a chief question.
That would be an answer the chief would have to get back with you on.
Okay, all right. So I'm just trying to figure out how the layout is. you know, with getting the 58% back, if it's already funded in the budget, then it doesn't have it has a positive impact on the budget.
So as everybody knows, I'm sure, the chief's been an advocate of recruiting. And since we don't have a dedicated funding, this would help us out tremendously also. He is huge on recruiting. He's done a wonderful job so far. I think we're up around 23 to 25 officers since he took office just, 18 months ago. We just did some interviews the other day. We have more interviews coming. He is continually pushing for recruitment. So this would help us out tremendously.
I think it's a no-brainer. So I think it's a great deal.
Absolutely. Well done.
Anybody else have any questions or comment? None? Nobody in the public? No? Okay. Well, thank you very much. Looks like it's a win-win for Kenner.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, with that being said, motion by Councilmember Brennan and seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Members, please vote.
Council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Motion passes 6-0. Item 13 is resolutions and motions by council members. A resolution temporarily suspending Council Rule Number 11 of the Rules of Organization, Business, Order, and Procedure of the Council of the City of Kenner and rescheduling the Kenner City Council agenda deadline to Friday, February 16, 2024 at noon for the council meeting of February 23, 2024.
Motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Swarth. Any comments, questions? Seeing none. Motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Swarth. Council members, please vote.
Council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 14 is items removed from the consent agenda. I have none. Item 15 is acceptance of contracts and similar matters approved by the mayor. Item 15A is summary ordinance number 13,442. An ordinance approving an agreement with Beacon Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration Incorporated to provide air conditioning, heating, and refrigeration services, labor only, in accordance with RFP 23-6786 and an amount not to exceed $250,000 annually for the Department of General Services.
Motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Dunn. Any comments, questions? Is somebody here on behalf of the Department of General Services? Is that Mr. Glorioso? Normally, we ask for particular facilities. In this case, it's a general amount for general services. Is that correct?
It's citywide for all city facilities.
Okay. So the 250 could be for several buildings, not just...
Yeah, multiple locations.
Okay. All right. Understood. Thank you. Thank you. Any questions from anyone? No. Motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Dunn. Council members, please vote.
Council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 15B is summary ordinance number 13,444. An ordinance approving a professional services agreement with Ames Group Incorporated regarding the resurfacing of Veterans Boulevard, Williams Boulevard to Roosevelt Boulevard, state project number H.015562, federal aid project number H015562, and an amount not to exceed $185,627.82 for the Department of Public Works.
Motion by Councilmember Swarth, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. If you will, Mr. Gonzalez, give us an explanation.
Some time ago, the city applied for federal funding to resurface veterans between Williams and Roosevelt. And the city succeeded in receiving the federal money for construction-related work. As the result of that, then the city had to enter into an agreement with the state DOTD to be able to receive those funds. That city agreement has already been executed. Therefore, there was a need to select a consultant for design-related services, and this is what this ordinance does. Selects a consultant and approve fees for design-related services.
And this is an 80-20?
This is an 80-20 for all construction-related work.
Very good. This is all good stuff. This is good
all
to see.
good.
Yeah, we're glad to see it happen. So we can have a big project happening on Veterans Highway in the near future, correct?
Well, the fact that we're gonna get, veterans resurface, and we're gonna get an extra lane, for westbound Vest to northbound Williams as a result of the ongoing work is all good.
Very good. Anybody have any questions?
I do, sir.
Yes, Mr. Swar.
So this 185, that's just the consultant fees?
That's consulting fees.
It's just consultant fees?
It's consulting fees, which is design-related fees, as well as supplemental related fees, which is surveying and geotechnical.
Okay, and that has absolutely nothing to do with the resurfacing itself?
No, the resurfacing work is roughly $1.9 million, of which the federal government is going to pick up 80%.
Thank you.
And question to complement that. So the resurfacing itself, when is the actual labor going to be done?
Being that we're dealing with federal money and we have to work with the state DOTD in the preparation of plans, review of plans, approval of plans, I'm looking at maybe 2 to 3 years.
So as far as this is concerned, this is one piece of legislation coming through us. We may have another one for the actual construction at a later date, or is this?
Correct.
Okay.
Being that federal funds are going to be used to finance the resurfacing of this project, and we have a city-state DOTD agreement, the state DOTD bids the project. We have to concur on their decision to award to a low bidder, but that's going to take place roughly 2 years.
And that's an 80-20 split as well?
Oh, yes. All construction-related work, construction and inspection services and testing services, is all going to be 80-20.
Okay, real good. So we got something else we're looking forward to as far as legislation in the future.
Yeah, roughly once DOTD bids the project and asks us to concur on the low bid, that's when we will act on it.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for your hard work. Yes,
This
Councilman Brannigan.
project's already started because the turning lane is being put in.
That's different.
The work that's going on out there is the ongoing work on Williams, which was part of Kenner's 2030 plan that calls for Williams Boulevard improvements in conjunction with adding a lane on Veterans.
Okay.
Westbound to northbound. That's going to give us 2 turning lanes for westbound Veterans to northbound Williams.
Okay.
And that's a big improvement as well, so. Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Councilwoman Dunn?
For Jose. So you're saying that where they're putting, where this thing is already dug up and they're putting that back, who's doing that?
That's the current contractor right now, which is Barry A. Construction Company, under the Williams Boulevard project. If you are referring to the area that is being dug up on Vets or any work along Williams between I-10 and West Metairie, that's all part of a project that started years ago on the Kenner's 2030 plan.
It's 2 different things on veterans, okay. All right, okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none. Motion by Councilwoman Swarth, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Council members, please vote.
Council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Mr. Chairman, if I could make a point of clarification. At the request of Councilmember Brennan, he has requested that item 12B, which is the grant for the police department, he has suggested that the council members' names go on the bottom as sponsored by, along with the mayor's name. I just need a yes that everybody's okay with putting their names on the legislation prior to me doing it. Everybody's good?
Everybody's good?
Councilman Bennett? Good, okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Item 15C is summary ordinance number 13,445. An ordinance approving an agreement with the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, State Project Number H.015796, Federal Aid Project Number H.015796 regarding Veterans Boulevard Shared Use Path from Richland Street to Williams Boulevard.
Motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Discussion? Mr. Gonzalez, if you will, give us an explanation.
Once again, the city was successful in applying for federal funding for this project that calls for a multi-use pass, which is a combination of pedestrian and bicycle pass, to be constructed between Richland Street, which is west of Loyola, all the way to Williams Boulevard. The city applied for federal funding. The city was awarded federal money for this one. This one is not 80-20. This one is even better. It's 85-15. And as a result of this, there's a need, being that we are going to get federal funding, there is a need for a city-state DOTD agreement, and that's what this ordinance does, allows us to proceed with the execution of a city-state DOTD agreement before the city can select a consultant for design-related services.
Okay, so this isn't for the actual construction at this point?
Not yet.
Okay, down the road. Okay.
Down the road, just like the other.
Anybody else have any comments, questions? Seeing none, a motion by Councilmember Swarth, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Council members, please vote.
Point of
I'm sorry. Excuse me. Let me rephrase that. Motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Council members, please vote.
Council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 15D is summary ordinance number 13,446. An ordinance approving a professional service agreement with MSMM Engineering LLC regarding the resurfacing of Vintage Drive eastbound Duncan Canal to Powell Boulevard, state project number H.015561, federal aid project number H.015561, in an amount not to exceed $162,855.50 for the Department of Public Works.
Motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Comments, questions? Mr. Gonzalez, if you will, again, one more time. I know you've been busy and you're doing some fabulous work for the city. If you will, just clarification on this one.
Once again, the city applied for federal funding for a resurfacing of Vintage between the Duncan Canal and Powell Boulevard. And we have succeeded in receiving those federal funds. And the city has selected a consultant for design-related services. And all this ordinance doing is accepting an agreement with the consultant and the fees involved. And we did apply for federal funding, not just for the eastbound, but also for the westbound. But limited federal funding only allows us to receive federal funding for the eastbound. That's not to say that we're not going to try again, because we will try it again to get money for westbound Vintage between the Duncan Canal and Powell. So we'll see what happens.
Very good. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Council members, please vote.
Council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15E is summary ordinance number 13,447. An ordinance approving amendment number 4 to the engineering agreement with Digital Engineering and Imaging Incorporated dated March 19, 2018 regarding Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality, Clean Water State Revolving Fund, loan administration/management to increase the not to exceed amount of $150,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $860,000 for the Department of Wastewater.
Motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember Brennan. Comments, questions? Mr. Murillo?
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 52 years. I see Joanne coming up here now. That's why I beat her up here, because I didn't see her moving over there. I'd like to get an explanation on what is the reason for this cap increase. And I take it this fund is taxpayer dollars. So if you can give an explanation, I appreciate it, young lady.
So this $150,000 increase to Digital's existing contract is for the LDEQ loan projects, that two of the projects y'all passed last week, the 25th in Salem and the 25th in Helena lift stations, the relocation and all new equipment, and also for the St. Jude lift station, for the construction for that and the design engineering, to oversee all those projects. So they oversee the design engineers, the contractors, they oversee all of the working parts on all of these projects.
And this is for a
On the city's
loan?
behalf.
This is a loan?
For DEQ Loan 7.
Any comments, questions from anyone? Mr. Morello, you good?
I'm good.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember Brennan. Council members, please vote.
Council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 6-0. Item 16 is ordinances and resolutions in summary for first reading. Item 16A is an ordinance amending ordinance number 11,964, adopted February 18, 2022, to clarify which sales are subject to the sales tax of 2% in the North 1300 Block, Veterans Boulevard Economic Development District, State of Louisiana. Item 16B is an ordinance approving amendment number 5 to the agreement with Linfield, Hunter and Junius Incorporated for professional services relating to the Rivertown Slough South Kenner drainage improvements, increasing the agreement amount by $35,000 for a total not to exceed amount of $596,950 for the Department of Federal Program Compliance. Item 16C is an ordinance approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with Education Specialist LLC, doing business as Camptown USA for use of Gladys Gymnasium in exchange for summer recreational programming for the Parks and Recreation Department. Item 16D is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive base bid received from BLD Services LLC for the 43rd and California partial sewer force main replacement in accordance with seal bid number 23-6801 in the amount of $1,007,900 for the Department of Wastewater. Item 16E is an ordinance ratifying the emergency replacement of pump number 2 rotating assembly at Arizona and 37th Street lift station by Fluid Processing Pumps LLC in the amount of $6,047 for the Department of Wastewater. Item 16F is an ordinance ratifying the emergency replacement of pump number 1 rotating assembly at Brittany Place lift station by Fluid Processing Pumps LLC in the amount of $6,047 for the Department of Wastewater. Item 16G is an ordinance approving amendment number 2 to the agreement with BLD Services LLC dated October 20th, 2022 for preventive maintenance of existing sanitary and storm sewers to increase the not to exceed amount by $300,000 annually for a new not to exceed amount of $1,050,000 for the Department of Wastewater. Item 16H is an ordinance approving amendment number 2 to the agreement with Bow Brothers Construction Company LLC to provide asphalt street maintenance on an as-needed basis, increasing the agreement amount by $1 million annually for a new not-to-exceed amount of $3 million annually for the Department of Field Services. Item 16I is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from J. Calderera and Company Incorporated for the South Kenner Drainage Improvements Project in the amount of $2,777,700 for the Department of Federal Program Compliance. Item 17 is reports from the council and our special committees.
Councilmember Brannigan.
At the beginning of the meeting, when we were asking for special intentions, I just got another one. Our Assistant Director in Recreation, Terrence, had a health issue, and I would hope that everyone would pray for his speedy recovery because he is an excellent employee and has done a lot for the Recreation Department in the short time that he's been here. Thank you.
Any other reports? Seeing none. Council Clerk.
Item 18 is new business. We have none. Item 19 is unfinished business and/or motions to reconsider or remove from a tabled position. We have none. Item 20 is persons wishing to address the council on special subject matters.
Mr. Al Morilla.
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 52 years. I want to pose this question to Acting Mayor Joey LaHatt. At the last council meeting, I requested that a representative from Waste Pro be here. Now, I know we're not voting on it today, but I did make that request. Were you able to get in touch with anybody over there to invite them here?
But you finished your questions, Mr. Al?
Yes, I got.
That's your main question?
I won't. No, I don't have any more questions for him. Just that one.
Okay.
But I'm not going to yield my time. He can answer when I'm done.
Okay, you done?
No, I'm not done.
Okay, we'll continue.
Okay. Now, speaking about Waste Pro, one of the questions I would have for this representative, what are we going to be getting for 35% more what we're paying now than what we get now? And one other thing, okay? Like Mr. Brown at the last meeting, I may not be impacted too much by this, but this is not like him, this is not about me. This is about the citizens of Kenner who's going to be deeply impacted, who are struggling to put food on the table and keep a roof over their head. That's why I'm at this podium. It's got nothing to do with me. So I think that when this representative does come down here before we take this vote, we need to ask him some serious questions extensively before we decide to vote on this thing. We already got another contractor in here now. And I've been saying for the last few meetings, the logistics of this city does not support 2 solid waste contractors in this city. The 52 years I've been living here, we've only ever had one. Now all of a sudden we got 2. So, anybody got any comments, any questions? Thank you. Okay,
Al, yeah. Is that okay?
Yes,
Council?
yes, please.
I did say at the last meeting, I'm going to request the waste representative to come, and I meant at the time when we're going to vote and talk. And I'm telling you again that the meeting we vote on the Waste Pro contract, it's going to be an extensive meeting. Be a lot of questions back. I have a lot of questions. I think I'll ask that'll probably things that you want to ask too. I have requested that they will be here at that meeting, which will be the next one because they had to lay over. So if I gave you the impression I was asking him to come today, I apologize. That's not what I meant last meeting. I meant when he's coming for us to vote on the actual new contract. So I am requesting the administration that he does come before we vote.
You didn't do anything wrong, Acting Mayor LaHatt. That's why I asked you this question today.
This is the first time I've ever been an acting mayor, so I hope I'm doing okay.
Well, I got to call you what you are today. I can't call you constantly. You're the acting mayor.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Al.
Thank you, Al.
Mr. Taft?
Greg Tapp, 5th District. I've got a couple questions that I'd like to get answers to today. There's been some talk on the streets and on social media that is very concerning, and I'd like to clarify some of it to make sure that what's being said is either true or false or indifferent. And this pertains to the fire department. One of the questions I have is, number one, since this millage got approved, has the fire department personnel received an increase? And if they have, when did it go into effect? The second thing I have is the previous administration, and in talking to the fire chief, there was a system supposedly in place where daily the departments or the locations would call in any maintenance issues or any problems that they're having, such as, water, roofing, et cetera, and equipment. I want to know if that's still in place and if that's still being adhered to, or did that go by the wayside? The next thing I have a question regarding is that I've heard, and again, I just need answers because I don't know the answers. But I've heard that we had 4 of 6 fire trucks down due to batteries. Now, and that's why I asked the other question as far as maintenance, because I don't understand how that could happen. And especially with a truck that if we would have had a fire, if you got 6 and 4 are down, that could create a big problem. So I need to know, did that really happen? Did we have trucks disabled? And the other thing is, and I hope it isn't true, that we have fire trucks that don't have working door handles. Now, it don't sound like a big deal, but you got to be able to get into the truck. And, you know, as I understand what the fire department does is that they try to expediently get the truck on the road to go to the location to fight the fire. Well, you can't do that if you can't get into it like you're supposed to. So I just need to have these questions answered because, again, I don't know if they're true. I don't know if they're false. But it's on the street, and there's people talking about it, and I think it needs to be clarified. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tell. Chief Morris.
Mr. Teff, I'm sorry, I wasn't taking notes, and I'll try to answer all your questions. If I miss one, please address it. As far as the salaries, no, the salary structure hadn't been implemented yet. For the pay increase, the millage just passed. The vote hadn't been certified as of yet, so we're still waiting on those things to happen, a few other things to happen before we increase the salaries of the firefighters. Your next question was on the repairs of the truck. We do have a maintenance process in place. The assistant chiefs, the members in the station report this through our record management system to what issues need to be addressed with the individual fire trucks, and we prioritize those. And I want you to remember, years ago, I've been saying that we have a very old fleet. We spend almost $200,000 a year just trying to keep the fleet up and running. So we have to prioritize some of those things. Some, you know, safety issues are a priority. They always take precedence over anything else. And the mechanical issues convenience issues are given a lower priority. But I don't know about the door issue that apparently has been posted. I'm not on Facebook to see these things, but my assistant chief on duty can speak to that as to how that reporting process happened, and even if that is in fact true, because we had something early in the week that I received a call from one of the councilmen about our fire truck with 158,000 miles on it and all the warning lights lit on the dashboard. It wasn't our fire truck from the research that we did. So we need to do some research on your question also to find out what the actual facts are about that. Now, what's your other questions?
Maintenance of the stations.
Yeah, that's all part of the same record management process where the members of the station go in and report any issues that they have, and it goes to the assistant chief, and then it moves to the necessary members to address those issues.
So you have a system in place?
Yes, sir.
Is that good, Mr. Tapp? Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
All right.
Any other comments, questions by councilmen? Or public? Okay. Madam Clerk?
Motion to adjourn.
That's it. Motion move. We adjourn.